Hello everyone, I'm Alex Dykes, and today we're taking a look at the 8-inch Entune touchscreen system in the 2014 Toyota Highlander. If you're looking for our full review on the 2014 Toyota Highlander, then go ahead and click that banner at the bottom of your screen to be directed on over there. We'll also have the same banner at the end of this video, so you can go and check that out. This is the new touchscreen infotainment system that is standard on 70% of all the Highlanders that will be sold in the US. The XLE and the Limited and Hybrid models all come standard with this 8-inch touchscreen navigation and infotainment system, which is kind of unique because most other entries in this segment don't come standard with navigation on the bulk of their models, and that's really going to be an interesting switch here for the Toyota Highlander. Let's go over the system one thing at a time. Right here we have our single slot CD player, two physical buttons right over here with knobs for the power and volume, tune and scroll. We have a play, pause button there, and we have an eject button for that CD player over there. All these other buttons are touch buttons in this system. We're on the home screen right now, and this home screen is configurable in either a 2-side or a 3-side affair right here. Right now we have radio, we have our phone, and then we have our navigation. In the phone interface, you would be able to add 4 speed dials right there to any speed dial on your phone. Let's click these one by one. Well, first we'll go to the audio screen, hit that audio button. We go right to our Pandora Interface. This is operating on an Android phone that Toyota has provided with the vehicle, and that is paired via Bluetooth. So this Pandora Interface is operating via that Bluetooth interface. You have your station selections right there. You can edit stations, you can select a new one, you can pause tracks, forward tracks, thumb up and thumb down things as well. If we hit this back button, we'll now have a source button, and here's where we can select our various audio inputs for the system. AM, FM, XM satellite radio, of course with a subscription, single slot CD player. This AV input right here is the rear screen entertainment AV input in the center console. This auxiliary input right here is the one that's lower in the dashboard and allows you to plug in a stereo mini jack there for any audio input, Bluetooth audio interface, and of course my iPhone that is paired with the system as well and connected via a USB cable, which is what we're seeing right there. Over on the Ipod interface, we have full access to our iPod via this on-screen interface, as well as full natural voice commands a la Ford Sync. Toyota has seriously improved their voice commands for 2014 with new software that can learn your speech mannerisms as well as accents, etc. And it also is a little bit better at natural voice commands rather than making you speak the way the computer wants to hear you. On the screen, if you prefer to browse around manually, it is fairly rapid. I don't have any audiobooks, so that was a bad one to check. But you can see that the system is fairly snappy in terms of responsiveness, very unlike my Ford Touch, which tends to be just a little bit sluggish. When you select playlists right there, it's also fairly rapid to just click that button and have it start playing, very unlike the Mazda CX-9 or some of those other entries in this segment, which really have very laggy infotainment systems. Back on the home button, we'll click on the nav button next. That's also accessible via this apps button right here on the screen, and then clicking navigation, because navigation runs essentially as an app on the system. The mapping interface is now on a secure digital card, so it's all flash-based. It's much more speedy, much snappier than the last generation of Toyota nav systems, which were hard drive-based, even though the software is essentially the same. We have 2D as well as 3D views available in this system, and the zooming and interaction with this system is fairly snappy. We also have traffic information provided by SiriusXM data services, and you can see right there it's green because there's no traffic on that road. Destination entry is via this button right here or via natural voice commands. We can enter a physical address on the screen only when the vehicle is stopped, so your passenger can't do that for you. You'd have to use the voice commands. Points of interest, we have address book, previous destinations. We can also web search with this system if you have a paired Bluetooth phone. We'll of course use the data services on the phone. And we have our preset destination buttons down there on the bottom of the screen. Going back to this app screen, this is also where you'll find settings for all sorts of things and direct access buttons for your various input sources. Our phone button there takes us over to our phone. We have favorites, call history, contacts, and of course that dial pad over there. You can also click over to settings. This is where you would connect phone and alter sound settings and call history settings for that particular device. Back on the app screen, we also have messages. And this works if you have a phone that supports SMS or MMS messaging via this head unit. Right now, iPhones do not support that, so you would need an Android phone in order for this to work. Back on the apps button, we have our eco screen right here, which shows us our average fuel economy, trip information, and our past record as well. We have our setup screen. This is where you can set up all manner of options for the vehicle, including what you want that home screen to display, Bluetooth interface, phone settings, audio settings, voice, This is also where you can have the system train the voice recognition. Over here we have Driver Easy Speak. This acts as a one-way intercom system for the rear passengers. It uses that same Bluetooth microphone as well as the speakers in the vehicle to amplify the driver's voice so the rear passengers can hear you better. One thing to note is that there is no similar system for the driver to hear those passengers in the rear. Over on this other setup screen, we have access to our driver settings. This allows you to pair audio presets, button colors, language, etc. to a paired Bluetooth phone. So every time you're in the vehicle and you turn it on with that paired phone, it will automatically resurrect those settings for you. You can also change additional vehicle settings and traffic settings there as well. Back on the app screen, if we click over to the next page, we have access to our data services provided to us by Entune. Again, that does require an Entune account as well as a phone with a paired data service. And this does not require a subscription from Toyota anymore. So previously they would charge you after the first year or so of service, but now the additional years are free. We have movietickets.com, Opentable, the Pandora app that we saw earlier. We can save destinations on our phone and then import them into the car via this feature right here. iHeartRadio, Bing web searches, and maintenance reminders for the vehicle. If we click over to this button, you can have it remind you. You can see the reminders are activated every time you need to have any of these items changed or serviced by the dealer. Over on the last screen, we'll have Fuel Guide, Facebook Places, Yelp, Sports, and Stocks. There are always additional apps being developed for this new Toyota Entune system, we're told. And if you have an older Entune system, many of these apps can be installed on your older Entune system, so be sure and check with your dealer on that. Click over here to the Phone button. This is where you'll find the typical Bluetooth phone interface with a nice dial pad. I do like that feature. It makes it an awful lot easier to use this interface while you're driving. Contacts, call history. We, of course, have favorites over there. Over in this little button, you'll see a little envelope. And that's because we also have SMS and MMS messaging integration with this vehicle. It only works with Android phones, however, at the moment. So if you do have an iPhone like this at the moment, you cannot use this MMS and SMS feature in the vehicle. Overall, Toyota's improvements for this 2014 Entune system have really made this one of the best entries in this segment. Not the least of which is this large 8-inch screen, which is very competitive, especially when you compare it to something like a Honda Pilot or some of those other entries at the lower end of this 3-row crossover segment. The system is also very snappy, very responsive, unlike my Ford Touch. I don't think it's quite as feature-rich or quite as exciting as the Uconnect system in the Dodge Durango, but this is probably a close second in this segment. It's not exactly as attractive as my Ford Touch, but it's an awful lot more reliable and an awful lot faster in terms of system response. It compares very well with Kia's Yuvo system, and I would rank this above the new systems that General Motors is putting in their Chevy as well as their GMC products, because those products are based on Cadillac's Q system, which I have found a little cumbersome and a little bit buggy. It's definitely not as responsive as this Toyota Entune system. If you want to know more about the 2014 Toyota Highlander, then go ahead and click that banner at the bottom of your screen to be directed over to that review there. We also encourage you to subscribe to this channel. If you have any questions on this system or about any vehicle in general, then go ahead and drop me an email to alex@alexonautos.com, or you can always pop a question in the comment section down below.